Welcome to the Sales Dojo podcast. The podcasts are here to help you address the real issues salespeople face every single day.
Yo, we have 4 posts this week, and the first one is an Instagram one, which I think Chris shared. I'm looking forward to us tagging John Cleese on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Creativity is not a talent. It is not a talent. It is a way of operating. You see, when I say a way of operating, what I mean is this. Creativity is not an ability that you either have or do not have. It is, for example, and this may surprise you, absolutely unrelated to IQ. Nothing will stop you being creative so effectively as the fear of making a mistake. As Alan Watts puts it, you can't be spontaneous within reason. So you've got to risk saying things that are silly and illogical and wrong. And the best way to get the confidence to do that is to know that while you're being creative, nothing is wrong. There's no such thing as a mistake, and any drivel may lead to the breakthrough. Creativity.
Right, thanks, John. That's bit. I love the cheesy background music they put on this stuff as well. It's meant to be all like awe-inspiring and that. We've kind of discussed, not this video, but this theme before, about the best way to get creative is just be creative. Just go. Don't worry about getting it wrong. Leon, I know you're a huge fan of perfection is the enemy of getting shit done. And I really see this more than ever now in sales, and especially when I'm working with sales teams around the world, is we should tick the box of creative arts when they're asked what category you're in. You know, we need to be more creative than ever to get people's attention, to get across our points, to create the stories that are needed in sales, and to be inventive. And I think one of the big things that holds a lot of salespeople back is this fear of getting it wrong. Analysis paralysis, phone fear. Oh, I've not posted on LinkedIn for 5 weeks because I just don't know what to write. And all of this is this fear of getting it wrong. The whole of creativity lies in a space where it doesn't matter if it's wrong. It can't be wrong. It's just creative. How many things we've all worked on that we were like, screw it, let's do it, let's give it a go. And they've not really worked out. But the ideas that came from giving it a go have led to other things. And here we are now, well, wherever we are. But yeah, I just really like this from John Cleese. And it's for salespeople that make phone calls or go to meetings or need to do social media posts or build a personal brand, or whatever, is don't let the fear of getting it wrong stop you. And I really want to preach to sales leaders and managers and business owners, don't get in your team's way of getting things wrong. Make getting things wrong utterly acceptable, because this is where some of your best ideas for your teams are going to come from, not waiting until you think it's absolutely right. Because all that happens if you wait is you get older and you miss targets, and it's suddenly Christmas like it is all the bloody time. That was a party political broadcast for Six Door Limited. Leon, as you're unmute, thoughts and violent reactions?
Yeah, so my first honest thought was I haven't watched Life of Brian for about 3 weeks, so I'm going to be doing that again this week at some point. Second thought was, Basil Fawlty over Christmas sounds good, so I'm going to definitely program that in. I was doing a little bit of a workshop with the small businesses who are on a really good program called Public Life. So Public Life's a program to help people with ideas about community-led businesses to go from an idea to actually business and stuff like that. And the good thing about them is most of them are switched on to fuck it, just do it. But one of the things I was talking to them most about was it being easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, and that you might as well just give something a go and see where it gets you. That was my first thought on this. And then the second thought when I've just watched it again now was, we see lots of people saying, here's what I did to get a result and here's how you should do it. And I always think something about that bothers me. And the thing about that bothers me is like, what works for you don't work for me. Like, I can't say the word beautiful without it sounding completely insincere. It doesn't matter how I try and how hard I practice, it just doesn't come out my mouth right. So I don't use it, but I can say loads of other things. And this is the thing with sales, like The end result is to get conversations, to get sat in front of people, help people make a decision. Kind of how you do that, you should be creative. And it sounds almost idiotic from someone who's doing a Sales Dojo podcast talking about stuff, but we always do say there's loads of way of saying stuff, there's loads of way of doing stuff. Pick the thing that's most comfortable, most useful for you, and then also knit a few things together from steal something off Chris, steal a little bit off Susie, go back and find something off Mark Howley, find a little bit of Andy Bounds, and make your own version of success from lots of different things. So yeah, I enjoyed listening to this last week. I enjoyed listening to it again. Thanks for sharing.
Well, thanks for sharing. That sounds like we're in a pod. I like that.
I love a bit of John Cleese. I haven't really got much to add on what you two have already said, other than go for it. I totally agree with this. I think I can't remember the saying, maybe Chris or Leon, you've got it to hand, but there's something around, there's something worse than doing something and cocking up. It's not doing it at all. Like there's some kind of really well put together saying that I've just butchered there. So yeah, take some heart from this very old speech. It's from 1991, but it's still relevant today. And don't let procrastination get in your way. Don't let the fear of failing get in your way. Give it a go, learn from it, and move on, because it's the only way we're all going to get better. There we go.
You know, you get memories on Facebook and it says, this is what you were up to the other year or whatever on this day. And a thing popped up last week for me from 10 years ago. And it was a flyer with like all my old branding and everything. And it was called Sell More with Sixth Door for Cancer Research. And the idea was, Jenny was climbing Kilimanjaro and she was miles off her charity target of what she needed to raise with like 10 days to go or something. We were like, oh, what do we do? And we didn't have time to think about getting it wrong. So I just made something up. Sell More with Sixth Door. What's the ticket price? Pay what you can afford. Like if you're a dead small business with no money, give us a tenner. It's for cancer research. If you're a big business with deep pockets, come on, dig deep. It'll be a great day. And I remember one company came along at like 500 quid for a ticket. Somebody else gave us a tenner. We did this great thing. This is 10 years ago. That, from the feedback of that course and the next one what we did, naturally evolved into Cold Call Like a Boss. That was the very beginning of the Cold Call Like a Boss course that I do, was a mad, creative, we've got nothing to lose moment, which turned into something so much bigger and so much different. So I love this, just like get out your own way, just go and do it. And if you can do it and make money for cancer research, that would also be awesome.
That would be very good. Susie, I can't help you with that saying. The only one I can think of that sounded a bit like it in my head was, 'tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. But I don't think that's with the way you were going with it. Sorry.
It's also a good saying, though. I don't think it's that necessarily that relevant. But basically, the message is do it and figure it out later. Don't not do it, because that's the worst option.
Brilliant. Kind words, don't butter no parsnips. Yeah. Say random phrases.
Should we move on to Ned?
Go on then. Do you want to talk about Ned then, Susie?
I'll talk about Ned. Yeah. So Ned is saying the following: the reason they're not signing is the reason they're not telling you. This is what Ned says, not me. In B2B deals, if they're not signing, they've got a concern. So here's how to find out what it is. Tell them two things that other clients have concerns about. For example, some clients are concerned that we're a smaller startup, or some clients asked about the length of time of integration, and say, are these things that you have concerns about? If they are, you can solve them. And if they're not, you're almost certainly going to hear what they do have concerns about. Then you can figure it out, solve them or not. It's not about selling. It's about figuring out the problem they have and getting them to tell you. So this is from Ned Phillips, I think is his name. Is that right? Yeah, Ned Phillips. And I think this is a good message. I think the important thing to say is be careful when you bring this up, or rather it's important to caveat when would be the ideal time to have this conversation. Chris and I talk about this as well, get ahead of objections, mention that certain customers have had concerns about A, B, or C. What are you thinking about that? get them talking about it. And the important thing is get them talking about it before you hang up the phone. I worry a little bit that this message, the way I read it, Ned, is suggesting this is how you would pick up the conversation with them again after they've not responded to you for a while. I think that's going to be tricky. I think you need to be getting ahead of this and having this conversation before you have hung up the phone, planned your follow-up from the next meeting, finished your demo, etc., etc. Ask this question before you lose them to the next meeting or whatever. So that's just my thoughts here. I think it's a really good point to refer to other clients. And Chris, you and I talk about social proof a little bit, so this would fit into that a tiny bit about other clients having similar thoughts. So what do you think, Chris?
Yeah, it's always a tightrope because you're preempting an objection. But if you do it wrong, you're actually putting the objection in the head that might not have been there anyway. I would say, so let's take this example that's been given. And I like this, Ned. We're not knocking this at all, Ned. Some clients are concerned that we're a smaller startup. Yeah. I wouldn't lead with that. This has got to be a probing question when an objection's already come up. So maybe when they say, you know what, we've got a few concerns, we're just going to wait a week and have a think about it. Hey, that's cool. I like to wait and think about things too. Sometimes when people want to think about it, it's because of this. Is that what you're thinking? It's a digging question to get to the truth. It's not a starter question. If they go, hey, this sounds great. This sounds great. We'll let you know. Well, some people are worried that we're too expensive. Where's this come from? You've got to be really careful. I always tell the story in training about AO.com, preempting my objection in an email. When the email me I bought something off them the day before and I got all these sales emails off them. And I thought, for God's sake, I only bought something off you yesterday. And I opened the email and it said, we know you only bought something off us yesterday. And I was like, wow, like what a huge amount of empathy. They mentally guessed my objection via an email. That's really clever stuff. And it worked. Yeah, it's just, this has got to be positioned correctly. But Ned, if you want to go into all that detail, you'd have to write like a 3,000 word LinkedIn post, wouldn't you? We know LinkedIn posts are just snippets. And I like this snippet, Ned. Leon?
Yeah, I agree. I think every post that you ever have that says you should try this or do this needs some context, and we never really get the context, and you would obviously get that. So if you want some more context on this one, reach out to Ned, and I'm sure he'll fill you in. He seems like a swell guy. I do like the idea of talking about objections. I think it's really important. I did spoke to someone I was doing a chat with on Friday about something similar to this, and maybe I just ripped this idea off this post and passed it us on my own Friday. There's a good chance that happened. But equally, it was just talking about like objections. So like, for instance, with the mobile stuff, an objection we'll often get is within contract. So I drop that in really early in a conversation when I'm calling. It's like, I know you're probably in contract and you think it's the wrong time to speak to me. So I can disarm them on that thing, and it's really useful. But you're all right. Context is almost everything when it comes to these things. So Ned, drop us a line and fill us in on the context of when this happened. That'd be really cool. Love to have a chat some more about it. We've got two more posts. The next one is from Ryan S. Howard. I want to one day be important enough that I just put the initial of my middle name in, although it's M, so it'll look a bit crap. It'll look like I've done a typo.
Leon M. McCowan.
Yeah. Doesn't have the same ring, does it?
All of that really looked like you got a stutter.
So Ryan says sales isn't broken. The process is. I help sellers teams fix it with some more information. He goes on to say, I think you might have shared this, Chris, but I've started, so I'll finish. Most sellers panic when a buyer ghosts them. No, it was me. I remember it because it said ghost them. Here's the part nobody says out loud. You don't fix it with more follow-ups. You fix it with clarity. When someone has taken your calls, replied to your emails, seemed engaged, and then suddenly disappears, your instinct is to chase. More bumps, just checking in. More fluff that lowers your status. That's why they keep ignoring you. Write this instead. Simple line. Hey, name. Tried to reach you a few times. Left you a message. Didn't hear back. Where should we go from here? That's it. No hype, no begging, no super excited to partner, no long paragraphs that make you look needy. It works because it resets the power dynamic. It makes them feel safe replying. It gives them easy out or easy yes, and it shows you the pro, not a chaser. Buyers respond to clarity and not pressure. So I shared this because it said ghosting, and I really like the idea behind this. I did use something similar with a prospect, not for the mobile stuff, for something else I'm working on recently with are you done with this? Should we just put it in the bin? And they replied and said, no, sorry, been really busy. Let's book a meeting. And then they booked a meeting with the calendar link. So the whole close the file, where should we move forward with this? I really like. I wondered what, Chris, Susie, what do you guys coach if someone feels that they've been ghosted in inverted commas?
Did you just do the wiggly fingers thing?
Well, I may have or I may have not, depending on whether you're listening to this on the podcast or watching our video version.
Or if you're watching on the new Sales Dojo YouTube channel, we've not mentioned that. There we go. Which is why I've got a bit dressed smarter than usual. And I've had
I wondered why you had a jacket on.
I know, yeah. I've had a wash and everything. I was going to put a wig on, try and confuse everyone. Yeah, this is, so people talk about being ghosted. One thing, you're probably not being ghosted. People are busy. Like, but what I mean by that is don't immediately assume you're being ghosted and then write some arsey response. So the biggest challenge I found salespeople have to say, oh, I'm being ghosted. I need to get the deal. I need to save the deal. Well, no, you don't. You need to get to the truth. Because like what's going to happen is going to happen. You just need some closure on it one way or the other. So just ask for it. And I quite like where Ryan puts in here about don't give your status away. Hi, just checking, just bumping this to the top of your inbox. You sound pathetic and whiny. Nobody wants to do business with that because I'm going to vomit again. You've no value when you're like that. Hey, what should we do next? It's like, just give me the truth. Yeah, that's fine, mate. Hey, looks like this isn't as much of a priority as it was to you when we first spoke, which is cool. Just to let you know, I'm going to take you out the CRM so I don't pester you. Bye. And they go, oh, but what if they don't reply? Well, there's your answer.
Yeah.
Let it go. It's like that. Oh, but she might go out with me one day. No, like, get off the hook, move on. Yeah. So Ryan, 5 out of 5, big gold star, and get a badge for that one. Like it. Susie?
Yeah, not much to add, really. I think we used to call this like the breakup email a little bit, didn't we? Like, asking in a non-committal way for a response. I think it's important that we remember that Ryan's talking about somebody who has been in contact with you before, right? Yes. This is not the email to send if you have sent 10 cold emails and had 0 responses. It's not suddenly going to get a response for you. This is about dealing with somebody or re-engaging somebody who has previously engaged with you, had a conversation with you, had an email exchange with you, etc., etc. So this is a great technique to use for somebody who you have communicated with in the past and they've communicated back with you too. Other things that you can do, of course, we could go into a whole training course on this as to how to avoid ghosting in the first place, is setting up follow-ups, making sure you're asking them before you finish that conversation where they are or when would be a good time to talk again, getting that next date in the diary. But because we are not doing a training course here, we're doing a podcast, I'll stop there and maybe we'll have a chance to talk about that some other time. But yeah. Good advice from Ryan.
Training courses are available at sixdoor.com or smallstuff.de if you are interested in a training course, by the way. Let's not forget that. So the final post is from David Hariga. David, drop us a line and let us know to get that second name right. I'm really crap at these. David said, I had an uncomfortable sales call over the weekend. Didn't we all, Dave? A brand called me after being referred to us. Almost before saying hi, he asked, what are your prices? I said, our general price on the website. Mind if I ask a few questions so I can actually understand your situation or give you numbers that mean something? He paused, reluctantly said yes. I asked the basics, order volume, SKUs, packaging, what's the problem you're trying to solve, current fulfillment setup. He sounded rushed, so I tightened it up and said, okay, think I've got enough. Let me explain what we actually do and the price that applies so you understand what you'll be getting. He cut me off again, frustrated. Why can't you just give me pricing? And this is where most brands get stuck. They want the number without the context. But in fulfillment, pricing without context is useless. You end up comparing apples to tractors. I like that one. 2 pick and pack rates can look identical, but represent completely different realities or the opposite. They are radically different prices. One includes same-day turnaround, dedicated account support, simple structure, accurate receiving, retail compliance, actual accumulation. The other includes a warehouse and hope. and maybe some down on the invoice, add on charges, some down the invoice anyway. Price shopping only works when your thing you're comparing exactly the same. Most of the time it's not. There's some more information as well there, but it gets longer. I'm not going to continue. I was interested in this one. I think I shared it because I like the idea of talking about price, because it's a conversation you'll often have with people. And I'm going to ask you for your input first, Susie, here, before I add anything.
I love the way that you just claimed that post as your own, Leon. It was Chris who shared it. He really wanted to talk about it, but
How dare you?
But good. It sounded very much like it was your choice to share this. So this reminds me of, I've worked with a lot of logistics companies myself. And so it is about trying to figure out or trying to demonstrate where you differ and where your value is that you can offer to a customer, right? Because different things are important or have a different value for different customers. Where I'm going to go with this is, lots of people think that when somebody rings up or contacts you and asks you for your pricing, that they're interested. Beware. It depends on what you're selling. It depends on the type of business you're in, but beware. A lot of people need 3 comparable quotes in order to pick one or go for the one they want to go with. And so they need you to be a number. And they're not interested in working with you. They're not interested in even finding out more about you. And that's what I would almost guess from this example. They just need you to be one of those 3 suppliers so they can pick their favorite supplier already and get it through the procurement process. I'm being cynical. I'm sorry about that, but this does happen. It happens in a lot of companies. So whenever you have a new brand or a new company ringing you up asking you for price, I think do what David did here and ask more questions. Get to the nitty-gritty of what they're looking for, what it needs to deliver for them. Asking a couple of questions should be able to help you figure out, is this person legit? Do they really want to find out about our services? Or are we just being a comparison? Because just like David says in his post, general pricing is on the website, so you can redirect someone there if you think that. Then they've got their price comparison and you don't need to waste your time on someone who's not interested in working with you. So that's where I'm taking this. I would love to hear why Chris shared this post.
For exactly those reasons, word for word, Susie. So I have nothing more to add. No, I just think it's really important for salespeople to understand this. When somebody phones up for a price, they get all giddy and they vomit prices at people, and then they get ghosted or they claim they're being ghosted, etc. It's not our job to do this as salespeople. Somebody comes to you with a problem, it's your job to offer a solution, but it's also your job to help them realize what their problem actually is. So they might have a £500 problem and you offer them a £5,000 solution. That's the end of it. They might think they have a £500 problem because nobody's diagnosed it. Nobody's asked them some really challenging questions, and you're not doing them any favors by not digging deeper. Well, you can't go to the doctor and say, oh, I've got a headache. How much are your headache pills? Or what makes you think you got a headache? Oh, I Googled it. Oh, no problem. Then they're a tenner. Like, the doctor's going to dig, aren't they? Because it's not the job to sell you pills. It's the job to get you the best solution. So a lot of it is a bit of a reframe of your mindset on what you're there to do. Totally agree with David here as well. And it's different industry by industry. But when Sixth Door gets inquiries, how much is it for a bit of sales training? Doesn't sound particularly like you're serious about investing in your team and developing them here. It sounds like HR have given you a box to tick, which is not what we want to get involved with. So we'll have a chat, but I'll go full Chris Moss on it with this one. Could you give us an idea how much does it cost for sales training? Hey, sounds like price is one of the most important factors in your decision when you're looking at training. What made you decide to first look into training your team? Give us some more idea. Of course, I can give you a variation of price. The further into the process we get, I can give you a more accurate price. But for now, tell me about your team. We'll just try and get into discovery. And if they just go price, hey, fair enough. Ranges from this to this. And we've got a minimum spend of this. These are our payment terms. Is it worth us talking any further? Well, I'm not messing about. There you go, straight at it. So yeah, David, absolutely take heed of David Hariga. We're really sorry, David. We like your post. We just can't pronounce your last name.
I don't know if I should say anything on this now that Susie's called me off the line about finding this post. Feel a little bit embarrassed, like I should just disconnect and slide off into the night. But I am going to actually back Susie up, even though she threw me under the bus there. One of the things that I find is I often get asked these kind of things when it comes to quotes is they're looking for another quote to be able to put forward to some. So I just front that all the time when I get someone who knows pricing and go, look, I often get asked for proposals so that people can support or denigrate another one. Do you want me to just send you a proposal? Tell me what you want on it and whatever price you want me to put on it, and then I can help you get the right deal that you want. And then they'll either say, well, yeah, that's all I'm after, and they'll get it. Or they say, oh, no, that's not the reason. I just need to know the price. What do you need to know the price for? Tell me a little bit more about the price that you've had in the past. So I always front that totally, because it is often a thing that happens to me. They almost use the same email copy when they send that email via your website to say, can I have a quote for this and this and this? Like when they say, can I have a quote for a Ford Focus with alloy wheels, with grey seats, with purple coloured on the paintwork and this kind of badge? You're like, you fucking know what you're doing there. You know exactly what they're looking for. So I always front that, and that usually helps.
I like how this person approached you from 1998 as well.
I was just thinking about my dream car.
Ah, you think you know a guy? Wow.
No, it's not 1998, a Ford Focus either way, by the Chris. That's really poor. It only came out in 2004.
Oh, hey, Top Gear's looking for new presenters, I think. Go for it, man.
Well, I've just proved another point there, which is speak about anything with a bit of authority and people believe you know what you're talking about. I haven't got a clue when they came out. Shall I do a wrap up? So the post that Chris chose, and I never went anywhere near, just so Susie's happy with that description. From David Harroger, talked about pricing and if people phone you up just asking about prices. Ryan Howard talked about ghosting and how you can overcome that. Ned Phillips was telling you the reasons why people aren't signing and you should front them with some kind of questioning around social proof. And then good old John Cleese gave us a few hints and tips about how we can be more creative. I'm looking for a theme. I can't find a theme. I'm going to say the theme from today's post is they're all males. Please send some posts over to us who are females for next week. Whatever you're doing, try and sell more stuff. Have a great day.